Juxtapose this with
kids and kink can coexist.
Kids and kink can coexist.
I'm not saying that kink is inappropriate for kids. I'm saying they can and should coexist with each other.
I'm going to have an aneurysm. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that someone who says this,
kids and kink can coexist? I'm not saying that kink is inappropriate for kids. I'm saying they can and should coexist with each other.
should also be the host of a children's show? Be given platforms like Good Morning America, TED Talk, Dove campaigns, be given awards in general for this behavior? I would personally say no, but maybe I'm the one who's lost my mind here. Maybe I'm crazy. Let me know in the comments. Say hello to Lindsay Amer, non-binary host of the YouTube kids channel, Queer Kid Stuff. Yes, that's the title. And yes, I also want to die upon hearing it. You're not alone in that. We're on the same page. It's a channel dedicated to teaching toddler and above age children about LGBT topics, and it's done in a way that only a completely deranged and demented individual would find even remotely age appropriate.
Queer Kid Stuff.
And Rainbow Story Time.
Hi friends, welcome to Queer Kid Stuff. I'm Linz.
And I'm Teddy.
Teddy, today I want to talk to you about something that can be kind of hard for trans people like me. And it can be a little scary sometimes.
Scary? Oh no, Linz. Like a monster?
Actually, yeah, Teddy, it can kind of be like a monster. Today we're reading Me and My Dysphoria Monster.
Monster? Oh no, Linz, I'm scared.
Their YouTube bio says, an edutainment company that brings LGBTQ plus. I like how the acronym gets even me jacked up. It's like, and social justice media to kids and families. Subscribe to our newsletter and help us spread queer joy. I wouldn't exactly describe what I'm feeling as queer joy. Now, I did a video about this demon a few years ago. And you may be asking why I talk about her again then. Well, like any incurable disease, she's back. And like any incurable disease, you got to stay on top of it or it comes back worse than before, which is the case with Miss Lindsay Amer. Miss, you can tell through the screen, she smells like hot dog water. Amer. As a result of my original video dragging her and a lot of other people, also covering her disgusting content, predatory content, she kind of fell off the radar, but she's back and she's posting her episodes again, new episodes, and is getting more mainstream success and attention than ever, which really says something about the current climate, right? That like there was a window of time where like it wasn't so hot of a look to be at very best predator adjacent, but like in my opinion, just in the thick of being a predator, like that's her.
Kids and kink can coexist. They can and should coexist with each other.
And listen, for any of y'all that are somehow still blue-pilled enough to see a title like Queer Kid Stuff and to see someone with a smile as if a smile means that you're a good person.
It's okay to be gay.
For any of y'all that are fooled by that and want to say, oh, she's just teaching people about gay people. Why can't kids learn about gay people? We're going to wisen up to these tactics because that is not exactly what's happening here. And listen, I am not someone that believes in hiding certain realities of the world from children, because if they're not getting information from you, they're likely to get it from a deranged, bad source. And in modern society, a lot of kids are going to school, and kids in their school may or may not have two moms or two dads. And so there is, I think, an age-appropriate time to have that conversation and be like, listen, this is how some families do it. But that has nothing to do with this content. Because is there anyone who thinks that Miss Lindsay Amer has an even remotely sane or rational grasp on what is age appropriate and when? With content like, what is gender dysphoria? Me and my dysphoria monster. Yeah, gotta let them know about debilitating mental illness that is so bad you're relating it to being a monster. That's not scary. Drag queen makeup transformation. Yeah, change yourself, transform. Don't accept how you look, kids. Sesame Street was wrong. Don't have confidence with that. Change how you look entirely, using that thing that 99.9% of parents won't let you even use until you're in your late teens. What are pronouns? Notice how she didn't forget that Party City wig. The leftist, diddler, wardrobe, staple. I think I just have like bad wig PTSD, you know?
Keep it cute, girl. Keep it real cute.
Let's get ready for election day. You know they can't vote, right? What's an abortion anyway? Really? Maybe that thing that gay people don't even need because they're gay and can't get pregnant? Am I the crazy one here? Like, even if the topic of abortion in general was even remotely appropriate for a 4-year-old to hear about, if the goal is to teach them about gay people, Halloween is a queer holiday. Really? So Halloween's gay now. That's a reach. Especially with those little dinosaur arms of yours. But you know what? See for yourself how not acceptable for kids this demon's content is.
It's okay to be gay. We are different in many ways. Doesn't matter if you're a boy, girl, or somewhere in between. We all are part of one big family. Gay means happy.
So notice the GMA in the corner. Good Morning America. Now, as someone who has some experience in both the entertainment industry and experience with television and television networks, the amount of background checks that go into putting someone on, especially a morning show, a show like this that is the definition of mainstream. I mean, to say it's actually extreme is an understatement. And that's also why it's so dark sometimes when you see people like this, because someone had to co-sign things like this next video.
I want to clarify this for a second here. I'm not saying that kink isn't kid-friendly. I'm saying that kids and kink can coexist.
I know what to do.
You know what to do.
Yeah, just wait for it.
Whoa, is that really your friend?
Have a seat, baby.
Kids and kink can coexist. Juxtapose this with the video a second ago. It's okay to be gay. Ukulele, right? That's the real her. In bed here, having her little dark thoughts, making a little late night TikTok about how kids and kink can coexist. I'm sorry. Y'all love to, I'm going to go off for a second. I feel like everyone has a basic understanding that pedophilia is a huge problem in society, and we would like to make steps to mitigate it at worst and eliminate it at best, right? Like, that's the goal, or should be the goal for everyone. However, people also have this thing where they skate around using that word even when it's appropriate, because they don't want to, and I understand it, they don't want to falsely accuse someone, they don't want to, sound too hyperbolic, but I'm sorry, that also enables some people who absolutely deserve the label of pedophile to get away with not having to have that label, especially women. That's real. A lot of women acting out their pedophilic thoughts, letting that demon out publicly, and y'all ignore that because they're women. That's another thing. But that's part of the problem, right? When you avoid using that word for people because you don't want to falsely accuse someone, and I get that, sometimes they do deserve it. And in my opinion, this is a clear-cut case of that. I do believe that this woman is a pedophile, and if you think that's too extreme, or I'm jumping the gun, jumping to conclusions here, I would like for you to find any other type of person that you can think of in your head. Leave it in the comments that would fix their crooked mouth, their crooked, unbrushed teeth ass mouth, to say something like kids and kink can coexist and are somehow not to be separated. Like, I can only think of one type of person that says that, and that's about. Sorry.
Pride in a totally fine way. There's a nuance here that making an event kid-friendly doesn't mean sanitizing it, aka taking something like kink out of pride. Making pride kid-friendly is not the same thing as sanitizing Pride. Making a Pride event kid-friendly, or I prefer kid-safe, is about making sure we're including and putting kid and youth voices.
Making Pride safe would be sanitizing it, right? Not in your mind, because you want it dirty, because you're dirty. Miss Lindsay Amer. That's literally what you're saying. Don't sanitize Pride because it's safe for kids. What are you talking about? Anyone who's ever seen videos of every Pride, right? There's always things going on that are so totally not appropriate for kids. And that's why the world gets so mad at it. That's why I have always had a natural aversion to Pride and not really gone like that. Like, first of all, even my personality type is not the kind of person that wants to walk down the street with a rainbow, right? Like, that's just not my like vibe. But also, even if it was not this, at times just gross display of like explicit behavior that isn't appropriate for my adult eyes, nonetheless a child, right? Even if that wasn't the case, why do you specifically want to make it clear that you don't want it sanitized? Again, think of another type of person that would even talk like this.
And including them in Pride and particularly any justice spaces. Kids and youth voices are vital to justice movements because they are a vulnerable and marginalized group on their own, which includes their intersecting identities and oppression.
Notice how she clocks that they're vulnerable. Yeah, we know that's why you target them with your content, right? Right?
So I'm not saying that kink isn't appropriate for kids. I'm saying they can.
How many times can you say it? She wants to make it so damn clear. Was it the third or fourth time you've said that phrase in the video? My God. And look how just chill she is. She is posted up in bed. Just like, you know what? I want to, run my mouth about late night. Kids and kink. Like, and this is the person co-signed by TED Talk, Good Morning America, all these different platforms that people trust to be safe and valid sources of information, and that parents are putting their kids in front of their television to watch. I'm going to have an aneurysm.
And should coexist with each other. I want to
Should.
clarify this first.
Welcome to Queer Kid Stuff. Today I wanted to talk about a bit of an update on my identity.
Queer Kid Stuff.
Oh, here we go.
You are enough here at Queer Kid Stuff. We've been talking a lot recently about different parts of our identity in our series on privilege. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my identity. I hope that talking about my identity with you can help you figure out some things about your identity.
I hope that talking about my identity creates a social contagion for you kids. That's what she's really saying. Right? Did you need that translation? Because it's obvious to me.
I've talked about my identity before, like how I identify as queer and as white and as Jewish and as a cisgender woman.
Where are the accomplishments? See, I can't help but feel like society was probably in a much healthier, better place when people would describe themselves and lead with the things that they actually have a right to be proud of. Like, I'm a lawyer, I'm a carpenter, I'm a doctor, I'm an artist, I'm a musician. Like, nowadays, it's I'm queer, I'm white, I'm Jewish, I'm a woman. See, all these things that society will tell you, be proud of it. But at least for me, I reserve pride for things that I work for, accomplish, attain, set a goal for, and achieve. Like those things. Not necessarily the circumstances of my birth. But, do you?
Well, I actually wanted to talk about that last one, my gender.
I hate her demeanor. That fake ass, narcissistic, like y'all are so fooled by nice seeming people. Y'all are so fooled by it's okay to be gay. Nice little smile, nice little cutesy wootsy voice. I'm sure Jeffrey Dahmer was quite lovely, quite charming before he snatched He's victims of, right? And this is the problem. I said this in the last video. This is the problem with libs in general. They really respond to tone of voice over actual words. So they watch this and they don't see a woman who is talking about something entirely inappropriate with their children and talking about gender and sexuality to children and that being somehow harmful because she's doing it in that tone of voice. I wanted to talk about my identity and I'm struggling and I'm here to come out to you today, kids. See, if it was some nasty, grubby older man talking about, all right, let me talk to you about what I like to have sex with to kids, y'all would be shook. But because she has this, wounded bird affect and she's nice and she's tilting her head down, she's shrugging, y'all don't see a problem with it. Wake up.
Up until now, I've always identified as being a cisgender woman who uses she pronouns.
As you should, because that's what you are, minus the annoying cisgender before the word woman, like you're just a woman, right? And teaching kids anything different would be giving them misinformation rather than you being honest and vulnerable with kids.
But recently, I've actually been questioning this part of my identity. I'm not totally sure anymore if I'm a cisgender woman. This is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, and I'm still kind of figuring it out. That's just sort of how I feel, and I wanted to share that with you.
Y'all love coming out to kids. It's your favorite thing. All these woke TikTokers, all these woke teachers that record themselves telling kids about their gender and sexuality as if that's not something sick, as if that's not information that is relevant specifically to your family and close friends, rather than a group of kids who you have taken advantage of the, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here, but in my opinion, divine, obligation to handle with care and with tact and with respect and raise a generation that is going to participate in society sometime soon and give them tools to be healthy and, educate them and teach them. And you have abused that role to tell them about gender and sexuality as if that's any of their business. And also, if you're only questioning, if you're not a woman, maybe for the sake of not confusing children who are, like you keep saying, vulnerable, maybe tell them once you've figured it out, if you're ever going to. I mean, it's still none of their business, but damn, at least figure it out first, right? You haven't even come to your destination, your final destination, and you're like, all right, kids, I'm confused. Guess what? And this is like, if you understand trauma, you'll understand this. The problem with when you're traumatized as a child is that it shakes your foundation and your core in terms of feeling safe. There is an important sort of, how do I word this? There is an illusion that I believe is the obligation of parents and adults within children's lives to uphold, and that illusion is safety. Even if the kid's not safe, it is up to you to make them feel like everything's good. If you can't pay your bills and y'all are getting close to being evicted or something and your kid's 6 and is enjoying just playing Barbies with their friends and is happy all the time, it is your obligation to maintain that illusion that everything's good and handle it when it's not. But that is part of parenting. Maintaining your kid's happiness and taking care of those adult problems so they don't have to think about it. And it is traumatizing to a child when they feel like they're not safe and that the adults in their life are not making sure things are good. Because you have one segment of your life where you're supposed to feel like it's not my job to make sure things are good. So telling a kid that you're confused and yet you have no answers about this complex topic that you were in the position of teaching them about, right? LGBT issues, you're not making them feel safe. You're traumatizing them. That is traumatizing. I feel very passionate about that. As someone who went through a lot of trauma as a child, and they all stemmed back to just that feeling of the adults in my life are not making things safe. And so I'm always having to, as a child, temperature check. Is mom good? Is dad good? Is the family good? Is rent paid? Or is the house good? That's not a child's obligation. Why is anyone letting this person teach their kids anything?
I'm starting to use she and they pronouns.
What an accomplishment, right? Oh, wow. That was worthy of that emotional and serious video, and this is really hard for me. I'm using a new word. Ugh. Y'all really need to stop acting like coming out, like I said, is for anyone but your friends and family. And even within your family, it's not even appropriate information for kids of a certain age either. As someone who at one time did have to, I never had to really come out like that, because please believe, I came out the womb like that. Come on, limp wrist. I came out like that. And so everyone saw it before I even saw it. Know that. But, when I did the medical thing and I was like, okay, I'm going to transition. It's like, obviously I had to tell my parents, my family, and people who it was relevant information to know, right? Guess who was the last to know that? Anyone who was young in my family. It was my nephew. It just wasn't relevant information, or I didn't want to disrupt or cause any weird thoughts in their head until the change physically was so drastic that there was no way around explaining, like, I made some choices here. And my nephew was amazing about it. The idea that I would have talked like this to anyone in my family that was the age that she is targeting in her videos, that's just so sick and inappropriate. And like, I don't know, I'm feeling actually like away. Like, I don't know if y'all see me keep rubbing my shoulder here. Like, I literally am getting stressed out. It's just like, first of all, females in general get away with behavior like this, pedophilic behavior. Because like I said, if it was a man talking like this and not being so tactful and emotionally, pleasing with the tone of voice, y'all would see a problem immediately. And then also it's like, there are so many different ways to traumatize children, like I was saying earlier. And for whatever reason, people haven't gotten caught up to the fact that this is like one of them. We're in this, place in society where it's totally acceptable to run channels like queer kid stuff, and YouTube will keep you monetized. Meanwhile, we see every day they demonetize and shut down content that, in my opinion, is quite benign, or at least well-intentioned. And if there's anyone who thinks that this creature, this beast, this Neanderthal, this Sheanderthal, has an intention that can be described as anything but gross, I don't know what planet you're living on or what video you're watching, but the one I'm watching is some pretty nasty intentions. So get it together, YouTube. Like, why is this person on there? Oh, look at this. Her tweet. When I talk about queer, trans, and non-binary kids, I'm not just talking about kids who are currently identifying as such. I'm talking about all kids, because all kids are queer. She thinks all kids are queer. I can't.
Queer and trans kids aren't allowed to be themselves.
Oh, nice one, Dove. Nice one, putting this thing on. Saying that queer and trans kids can't be themselves. Y'all know what I say about trans kids. A trans kid is like a vegan cat. I won't even be annoying and recite the whole line. The problem is that, first of all, you said all kids are queer. So the idea that queer kids can't be themselves, and what, you're just the savior here to free all the kids who you say are also vulnerable? Okay. It's clear cut to me. Feel free to put your opinion in the comments, but like, this is just, to me, a predator. I don't know what other lens to view this from. I'm sure you could just view it from like, oh, this is a very damaged woman, but like, damaged people damage people. And they become predators themselves because they're damaged. And the idea that anyone, again, would put their kids in front of a television and think that this person is going to lead their kids in the direction of further education or like enlightenment or happiness or just entertainment, that's demented.
Everybody get your bums ready to shake. If you're a drag queen and you know it, shake your bum. you're a drag queen and you know it, shake your bum.
If you're that profession that it only existed throughout history in nightclubs until very recently, shake your bum, shake your butt, kids. When talking about performers that are in 18 and over clubs in most states, that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick, right? I hate this. And I hate that y'all are just so easily fooled. Shake your bum. And y'all are just like, oh my God, it's for kids because it's in a tone of voice like that. And it's cute. Meanwhile,
Kids and kink can coexist.
I'm sorry. I'm also very big lately on, and I don't care who this upsets. I don't care. You can be mad. You can act like this is a superficial statement. It's not, if you have an understanding of what I'm talking about. They say never judge someone on their looks, right? And even I, for a while in my career, was like gaslit by like, let me not mention looks because everyone gets so triggered when I talk about how someone looks gross. As if that's not a direct reflection of how much you love yourself. And as if loving yourself is not a direct reflection of your capability of how you treat others. As if that's not a step 1, step 2, step 3 process. You love yourself, so you pour into yourself, you invest in yourself, you take care of yourself, your health, your grooming, and then that takes such a positive effect on your mental health that you're able to spread that to other people. That's what I believe. So when someone is up here looking like this, teeth unbrushed, just gross, clearly no like health intentions with the way she's eating. And I don't care if you guys are mad about that. I don't care. She doesn't look healthy. And if you think she looks healthy, you're lying. She looks like a deeply unhealthy person, and that comes from the outside and the inside. And why anyone wants a deeply unhealthy person like this to take the role of educating their children, I think you're just wrong to do that. I'm not a parent, but if I were, the people I would want educating my kids, around my kids, creating content my kids consumed, I would want a basic instinctual feeling that they love themselves and that they take care of themselves and that that's going to be something that rubs off on my kids, right? So y'all can reduce that to, being shallow. We have a spiritual being, I believe, as well, but like while we're in this shell, I believe it's a direct reflection of how you feel about your spiritual self and your higher self that you don't maintain the shell to some extent. When you look so sloppy and gross and you come on camera in bed talking about kids and kink can coexist in that disgusting tone of voice, where's the love that you are so easily fooling people who are, tricked by, it's okay to be gay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I see through that because I see a lot of lack of health and lack of self-love. So how are you going to give my kids love and education? You can't.
If you're a drag queen and you know it, and you really want to show it, you're a drag queen and you know it, shake your bum. A book called What's an Abortion Anyway? Liz, what is an abortion anyway? Well, we're just going to have to find out in the book, Teddy.
Okay, pro tip. If you're explaining an abortion to someone who needs a teddy bear puppet to understand it, they're too young to hear it, babe. Too young to hear it. Y'all know that meme, she's too young for you? Yeah. Your viewers, your demographic here for your audience, your channel, too young for you. In many different ways, Lindsay. Just understand that, please. Now, it's early in the morning here, and I want to have a good rest of my day, so I'm cutting this off. And this demon's getting off my screen, so I can get off yours now. Subscribe to this channel as well as my podcast channel. Follow me on X and Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.